Hello, my name is HAPruitt and I am the author of Anelthalien, and this video is going to be about marketing your book in your community, in your physical community. Some of that may overlap with your social media or online marketing, but not necessarily. Marketing your book in your physical community is important because although it may not have as far a reach as quickly, if people in the same groups, in the same daily conversations get excited about your book and they talk about it with each other and they tell their friends about it and word of mouth happens. People spread knowledge of your book about with their just words telling people, and that's a very powerful tool, word of mouth. So to spread awareness of your book in your community, you want to utilize the the different types of media like television, newspapers, radio. You want to think about all the different media that is not online that you could use that would reach the people in your hometown, in the city you live in, or nearby. So think about those. Go online, research the ones, and as you research the ones that match your vision, make a list of those and get all their contact information. You know, if you write a book, a Christian fiction book, then maybe the radio station that plays country music won't be so interested in it, so kind of skip that one. But the Christian radio station, maybe you should keep that one on your list because they have some kind of connection. So any type of media that has some kind of connection, and your hometown newspaper, that may not directly connect to what you're writing about, but it's about you and you're from your hometown, and so that can be a connection, even something about you that relates to the magazine or the radio station. So make a list of the ones that you can relate to, that relate to your book, and then get their contact information. And once you've done that, think about, do I know a guy?
I know a guy.
I like that phrase. Do I know a guy? Do I know somebody who has connections to that type of media? For example, my husband's granny knows one of the main guys working on our newspaper in our hometown. And so instead of going through the email channels that it says on their website with our daily newspaper, I went to my granny and I say, "Granny, can you give Mr. So-and-so these papers?" And she said, "Oh yeah, he comes over every Sunday and we talk for hours." And she gave them to him and he said, "Oh, you know, she doesn't need to do this, just email this person." And so because I had that connection, I was able to get my article about my book in the paper a little bit easier than if I had not known someone. So make that list. Think about, do I know anybody who I can contact just by asking them who could get me hooked up with that kind of media? And if you don't, that's fine. Just go through the normal channels that they tell you in their website and pray that they'll call you back and help you promote your book with their type of media. And then the other way, besides the media in your community, think about the community groups that are around you in your physical place of living. Think about which community groups would be interested in your book. For example, I thought of the youth groups in the churches around because this is kind of a young adult Christian fiction, and so young adults going to church might be interested in it. So I thought about the youth groups. I thought about at school, FCA. I think that's the Future Christian Association. I wasn't in it. I'm not an athlete. FCA, and even the Literature Bowl, and so many different other organizations and groups. If there's any book clubs in your community, join them, talk with them, ask them if you could come and talk about your book. Think about anything that would possibly connect to your book. If you just, if you're a Christian author, don't think about just Christian things. Think about secular things too. And because my book could definitely be liked by anybody who doesn't necessarily know about God at all. They could still enjoy the great story. So think about all these different groups in your community that might be interested even a little bit about some kind of book, the type of book that you have written. And again, make your list. The schools, the libraries, the churches, the clubs. Make a list of all those. Get the contact information. That's a little harder, but find out maybe who's the head of that organization and get in contact with them. And then once you've made your list, contact them, reach out, say, when I contacted the library in our town, I just kind of said, is there any way that I could, you know, present my book or anything like that? I don't remember what I said. I said good words then. I don't think of them right now, but I said good words then. Okay, so I said, hello, Colleen. Thank you for speaking to me on the phone. Oh, I talked to her on the phone. That was scary. I guess I talked to her on the phone. Just reach out and ask them if there's some way that you can show the community your book at their place or at their organization. Give suggestions, maybe an author signing. Maybe you sell your book there. Maybe you do a reading, an author reading. People like to hear little snippets of your book and they'll come and listen. And then you can have them for sale or you can sign the books or something like that. Give them ideas, give them suggestions of the community group. If it's a book club, think about, you know, maybe I send them some copies and they read the book, and then at some points during their readings, I come and talk about it, like every 5 chapters, every 5 weeks, I come and talk to them about what they've read and they ask me questions. That sounds super duper fun for you extroverts. Just think so many different ideas of how you could connect the community, connect these community groups with your book and get them excited about it. That's basically what it comes down to. Make a list, do your research, and then just think of any way to help people connect with your book. And that leads to kind of my other advice about marketing your book in general. After I've made some videos about marketing your book online in so many different ways, marketing your book to bookstores, so look for those videos on my YouTube channel, HAPruitt and Anelthalien. And then also the other advice I have is just think up all kinds of ideas. Anything, even if it seems absolutely bogus. Like on my ideas, I'm like, I'm going to contact J.K. Rowling and ask her to read my book. As of yet, I have been too embarrassed and scared to do that. But that's on my list. Just think of any crazy wild ideas you could of how you could promote your book. Even if it doesn't seem feasible or doable, think of these ideas and just create a list. And maybe they'll help you think of more doable ideas. Or maybe at some point they'll become doable. And make that list and write up all your ideas, even if they seem crazy. And then also, another piece of advice to marketing your book, think about people who might like your book. Think about people who might be like you. I did a drawing contest because there's not necessarily anything to do with drawing in the book except that I drew the illustrations and I really like to draw. And so people who have similar interests to me might be interested in just doing the drawing contest, and then because they did the drawing contest, they might start thinking about reading my book. It doesn't necessarily, the idea you have doesn't necessarily have to directly relate to your book. It can be more like, well, I'm in this group of people, and so maybe I can somehow think of our shared interests connecting us all back to my book. Think of anyone who might like your book, and where are they, what are they doing, what interests do they have, and use those little connections to connect them to your book. And then also think about, how are you unique? What are your talents? As I've shared, I did the drawing contest because I like to draw, and I did my own illustrations, and drawing's my talent, and so that's how I connect people to my book. Also, I'm a pastor's wife, and so I write Bible studies, like a couple every day, and I use my book sometimes as an example in those Bible studies, so people who are just wanting to know about God read it, and they're like, you wrote a book? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote a book. Do you want to know how to buy it? And they're like, okay, I'll look and see what it's about. So just be out there in the community showing who you are and connect it to your book. Think about who you are, how you're unique, your talents, and connect that to your book. Just like connect everything to your book. Talk about your book a lot. That's the final piece of advice. Just don't be afraid. I'm afraid, so I'm bad at this, but this is what I need to do, just as you do. Don't be afraid to ask people about it, to talk about it with people, to be like, yeah, I wrote a book. Do you want to hear about it? And just connect people to you, to your book, so they hear about it. Because that's the most important thing. If people hear about it, that is the first step into their thought process of, do I want to know about it? Do I want to buy it? Do I want to read it? So, thank you very much for watching. Those are I guess this video and the other ones I made about marketing a book, your book, all those videos are my advice about how to market your book. So please watch them. Thank you for watching. And please buy Anelthalien because I'm awkward and this is my time to do it. Buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy Anelthalien. Go to my website, buy Anelthalien. It's there too. It's right there. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hi, if you want to know more about Anelthalien, please follow me on Instagram, check out my Facebook page, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or visit my website at HAPruitt.com. Thanks for watching!